Right now, somewhere in your house, there might be an animal curled up on your couch that is directly descended from a predator ancient humans should have run from on sight. And somewhere else, a cat is staring at you from across the room with eyes that see the world in a completely different way than yours ever will. You've probably heard the old claim that dogs and cats see the world in plain black and white. It is one of the most repeated facts about pets, and almost everyone still believes it. But if that were actually true, why do pet toy aisles look like a rainbow exploded? Are toy companies just wasting paint on animals that cannot even see it? By the end of this video, you will know exactly what your pet's eyes are missing, what they can see that you cannot, and why one popular ball color barely exists to them at all. To understand any of this, we first need to talk about cone cells. These are the tiny structures packed into the back of the eye that are responsible for detecting color. Humans are unusually lucky. We carry 3 types of cone cells, each tuned to a different wavelength of light: red, green, and blue. Combine those 3 signals and you get millions of distinguishable colors. Dogs and cats only have 2 types of cone cells. Theirs are tuned to blue and to a yellowish green. Scientists call this dichromatic vision, compared to our trichromatic setup. That might sound like black and white, but it really is not. Losing one type of cone does not erase color entirely. It just means certain colors start blending together or fading into each other. In practical terms, dogs and cats see the world a lot like a person with red-green color blindness, which happens to be the most common form of color blindness in humans, affecting roughly 8% of men. Here's a simple way to picture it. Take a paint app on your phone and mix a little brown into bright red. That muddy, dull color is roughly how a fire hydrant, a stop sign, or your dog's favorite red leash actually looks through their eyes. So what happens to red and green specifically? Red shifts toward a dull grayish brown. Green fades and becomes very difficult to tell apart from yellow in their vision. This single fact explains something you may have noticed but never questioned. Almost every tennis ball made for dogs is yellow-green, not red, not orange, not pink. That is not a marketing accident. Yellow-green happens to be the one color that stands out sharply against green grass in a dog's limited color range, while red practically disappears into the background. So the next time your dog runs right past a red ball lying 2 feet away and looks completely lost, it is not being clumsy. In its vision, that ball may genuinely be almost invisible. Meanwhile, give that same dog a yellow-green ball and watch how fast it locks on, sprints over, and grabs it without hesitation. There's also an important distinction worth making here. Most colorblind humans still have a weak, partially working version of that third cone. Dogs and cats don't have a weak version at all. They simply never developed that third cone type in the first place. Now here is a detail most videos skip entirely. Dog vision and cat vision are not perfectly identical either. Cats tend to have slightly better sensitivity in the blue-violet range than dogs do, and their color discrimination in that zone is a touch sharper. But cats make up for weaker color range with an even more extreme trade-off toward night vision than dogs, which we will get to in a moment. One more fun difference. Cats have vertical slit pupils, while dogs have round pupils like ours. That slit shape helps cats control light intake far more precisely, useful for an animal that hunts at dawn, dusk, and full daylight. That vertical slit pupil in cats can open incredibly wide in darkness and narrow down to a thin sliver in bright sun, giving them a far greater range of light control than the round pupils dogs and humans rely on. So while dogs and cats share the same basic 2-cone color system, their eyes were fine-tuned by evolution for slightly different hunting schedules. Small differences, same underlying story. Both animals gave up rich color for something they needed a lot more. So why would evolution deliberately strip away color vision in the first place? The answer is not a mistake. It is a very deliberate trade. The wild ancestors of today's dogs and cats, wolves and wildcats, mostly hunted during the darkest hours, deep night or the dim light of dawn and dusk. In near total darkness, color detail is basically useless. What actually keeps a predator alive is the ability to detect the smallest flicker of movement and to see any shape at all in the dark. On top of that, their eyes have an extra reflective layer behind the retina called the tapetum lucidum, which bounces light back through the eye for a second pass, essentially giving them night vision goggles built into their skulls. So instead of investing in more cone cells, nature packed their eyes with far more rod cells, the cells responsible for seeing in low light. That reflective layer is exactly why your dog or cat's eyes seem to glow green or yellow the moment a flashlight or camera flash hits them in the dark. Put it all together and the trade makes perfect sense. Give up sharp color, gain elite night vision, and near-instant motion detection. For a nocturnal hunter, that is an incredible upgrade, not a downgrade. It's the same basic trade-off you see across the animal kingdom again and again. Nocturnal hunters consistently sacrifice color detail for sensitivity in the dark, while daytime foragers usually keep or even expand their color range instead. There's one more piece to this puzzle: reaction speed. Many predators, including cats, can process visual information and react to sudden movement noticeably faster than humans can, which is exactly why swatting a cat toy past a cat's face rarely ever works. You might be wondering, how do scientists even know what a dog or cat sees, since none of them can just describe it to us? Your living room dog and your napping cat are both still walking around with the eyesight of a professional night hunter, even if the closest thing they hunt these days is a red dot from a laser pointer. Their eyes are also built with a much wider field of view than ours, letting them catch movement from almost the sides of their heads without turning at all. One method is genetic testing. Researchers can directly examine the opsin genes in an animal's retina, which reveal exactly which wavelengths of light its cone cells are built to detect. Another method is behavioral testing. Scientists train dogs to choose between different colored panels for a food reward, then track which colors the dogs can reliably tell apart and which ones they consistently confuse. There is also a technique called electroretinography, where researchers measure the tiny electrical signals produced by the retina itself when it is exposed to different colors of light. Much of this research traces back to vision scientists like Jay Neitz, whose lab spent years mapping exactly which wavelengths of light activate a dog's cone cells, work that eventually confirmed the long-held theory with hard data instead of guesswork. Birds absolutely blow us out of the water. Many species have 4 cone types and can even see ultraviolet light that is completely invisible to us. That means many flowers have hidden ultraviolet patterns acting like landing strips, guiding bees and birds straight to their nectar, patterns your own eyes will never be able to see without special equipment. On the opposite end, whales and seals typically have just one type of cone cell. Their world is close to true black and white because underwater, especially in deep water, colored light barely penetrates at all. Humans, with our 3 cone types, sit comfortably in the middle of that spectrum, especially well adapted for color vision in bright daylight. And if you want your mind properly broken, the mantis shrimp has somewhere between 12 and 16 types of photoreceptors, letting it perceive colors that literally have no name in any human language. Even within the same household, a goldfish swimming in its bowl actually has 4 cone types too, giving it better color vision in some ways than the human staring at it from the couch. Once you zoom out, dogs and cats are actually just one point on a much bigger spectrum of how different species experience color. Even among reptiles, there's huge variation. Some turtles and lizards are actually tetrachromats, with 4 cone types, seeing the world in richer color than we do, while snakes that hunt mostly at night tend to have far more limited color vision, very similar to your dog. So how does any of this actually change how you take care of your own dog or cat day to day? First, when picking toys, blue and yellow items will almost always stand out far better to your pet than red or green ones, especially outdoors on grass. Second, many professional dog trainers actually use blue and yellow training equipment on purpose, since those colors give dogs the clearest, most reliable visual signal during agility courses and obedience drills. This same idea applies to harnesses, leashes, agility markers, even the little rubber bumpers used in service dog training. Trainers who understand canine color vision consistently get faster, more reliable results. Third, if a toy ever goes missing in the yard, remember that a red ball on green grass is nearly invisible to your dog, so do not expect much help finding it. If you really want to see this in action, try a quick experiment. Toss a red ball and a blue ball into green grass at the same distance. Then watch which one your dog finds first, almost every single time. So from now on, blue or yellow first, red and green last. Your pet and your patience will both thank you. This even matters for service dogs and guide dogs. Trainers deliberately choose blue and yellow equipment for critical tasks, since those are the colors a dog can identify quickly and reliably under real-world pressure, sometimes in a split second. What is really fascinating here is not just that dogs and cats see limited color, it is that every single species on this planet experiences the exact same world in a completely different way, shaped entirely by what it needed to survive. And honestly, that's the real magic of biology. Millions of years of evolution quietly rewired your pet's eyes for a completely different life than the one it lives on your couch today. So here's a question worth sitting with. If humans had evolved to live and hunt mostly at night, the way wolves once did, would we have made the exact same trade, giving up our rainbow for the dark? If this changed how you look at your own pet, wait until you see our next video, where we break down whether your dog can actually recognize itself in a mirror. Thanks for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed this one, hit subscribe so you do not miss what is coming next. If you learned something new today, drop a comment telling us which fact surprised you the most, whether it was the ball in the grass, the mantis shrimp, or the glowing eyes at night.